What's up everyone? Alex here. Have you ever gone to the grocery store, saw one of those carts serving samples, and found yourself going around the aisle just to get some more? Or maybe you didn't, and you just stood there and ate all of it. You monster! Kidding aside, we've all had these moments when we just want to try something new. And better, of course, if it's games that we don't have to spend any money on. And given how the past few years we've gotten a whole ton of awesome demos, I thought I'd compile the noteworthy ones. So if you've got a hankering and time, you can play those right now. I've added a game or two that lies within the periphery of RPGs, but I've no doubt that you'll find something to try out in this list. We have a lot of games to talk about, so I've asked the aid of my friends who will also be sharing their picks. This list is divided into two: demos whose saves won't carry over to the full game, but are still worth playing, and others that do. Also, I have chapter marked this video for your convenience, because I have a feeling that this is going to be a long one. With that out of the way, let's get started. Let's start with demos with saves that don't carry over. When I heard that Yoko Taro was making a turn-based RPG, that caught me by surprise. But the demo for Voice of Cards The Isle Dragon Roars is actually interesting in that it actually serves as a prologue to the full game. So if you wanted to just try out the turn-based gameplay in a low-impact way, you can certainly do that with this demo. And I think it's very representative of the other Voice of Cards games as well, though of course, The Forsaken Maiden and The Beasts of Burden have their own unique spin on the turn-based combat. When I played the Sea of Stars demo a few weeks ago, I just fell in love with the concept all over again. This is one of those turn-based games that really took some strong inspirations from the 16-bit era of JRPGs. And what this vertical slice will give you are samplings of the puzzle-solving aspects of its dungeons, how the turn-based combat's gonna work, and the incredible soundtrack that it has, not to mention its gorgeous visuals. This is one of those games that I'm absolutely looking forward to playing this summer. But for now, the demo is available only on the Nintendo Switch, with the rest of the platforms getting the demo later this year. There was brand new free DLC that came out for the DioField Chronicle, but you can still download the demo right now to check out what this game is all about. Combining elements of real-time and turn-based tactical games, the DioField Chronicle has a unique look and feel that's super fun. The only big complaint that a lot of people had is that the game is kind of easy. But that to me translates as a great opportunity for players who aren't really fans of tactical RPGs to try something that can give them an idea of how games of this genre actually play. Granted, it is much different than all the other tactical games out there, but you need to take that first step forward, right? And I just love how the DioField Chronicle looks with its great special effects and graphics, surprisingly good voice acting, and memorable characters. Waltikin is my favorite.
Hey everyone, my name is Taylor Hoyt from the channel The Gaming Shelf, and today I want to talk about the demo for Tales of Arise. Now the reason I want to talk about it is because this is one of my favorite JRPGs of the last decade, and this demo is a great showcase of what you can expect from the game. First of all, it shows off the gorgeous art style in this game, probably the best looking zone in the whole game itself. Not to mention it has a day-night cycle, so you can get a really good sense of what the game looks like during the day and at night, which is really cool. And also it's a pretty good sized zone, so there's a lot to explore. There's like little caves you can go in, other zones you can find, and even fight extra little optional bosses. But to me, I think the real reason you're going to want to try out this demo is because it gives a great showcase of the game's combat, easily the highlight of the game. Now you're given full access to every character in the game up until that point, even though at that point in the game you probably don't even have all those characters. You can try out all the different team up moves, the dash-in attacks, all that stuff. The combat is just so much fun, and it gives you a great opportunity to try it out with any of the characters of your choosing. So if you haven't played Tales of Arise, definitely go check out the free demo right now because it's fantastic.
Speaking of Tales of Arise, Tales of Berseria does have a demo. I remember playing this when it first released, and I just fell in love with Velvet and all the characters. Tales of Berseria is a very special game because it followed up Tales of Systeria, which is widely considered as one of the worst games in the series, but then Tales of Berseria kind of brought it all back in a way like kind of course-corrected a bit too much. And this is not a criticism of the demo, of course, this is talking about the full game, but this is good for a lot of people who love depth of gameplay. And of course, you still have that classic real-time Tales action. So if somehow you beat Tales of Arise and you still want more, check out the demo for Tales of Berseria. Veering away from the Tales series and yet onto another Bandai Namco franchise, Scarlet Nexus is a game that I absolutely fell in love with. This is an action RPG where you use telekinesis to manipulate objects and throw them at enemies and lash out at them using your psychic abilities. I am reluctant to call it anime control given the subject matter, but if there's two words that would really describe what this game is quickly, I think it would be that. But the combat is really fun, the demo allows you to play through 2 different scenarios and characters, and it's really got some fun progression systems and social systems that expand upon the game and the storytelling. So make sure to give this a shot. Finally, Ishin has arrived in the West. Like a Dragon, Ishin's demo is purely for combat. And if you're one of the newer fans who became a fan of the series after playing Yakuza Like a Dragon, this demo actually gives you a taste of what the action gameplay feels in the series. What makes Ishin fun is the fact that these are regular characters that are depicted in the regular Yakuza series, but as characters from feudal era Japan, which is definitely interesting if you're familiar with these characters in those games. Live Alive is one of my favorite games of 2022. And the demo actually gives you access to 3 of the characters available. Live Alive comes from a long line of Square Enix turn-based games that started with the Saga series, where you pick a protagonist, then you pick up the other characters along the way, much like the recently released Octopath Traveler 2. The 3 scenarios that you're able to play in the demo is very representative of how varied your experience is going to be. Because yes, while it is a turn-based RPG, the way that you go about playing these different scenarios can vary dramatically. So if that sounds interesting to you, I highly recommend checking out Live Alive.
Hi everyone, this is Daniel Santos and my demo pick is Triangle Strategy. Triangle Strategy is a fantastic tactical RPG. It's one that I highly recommend due to its beautiful visuals, its great story, and its fantastic combat. I've already done a full playthrough, and through New Game Plus, I'm already halfway through another playthrough because I enjoyed the game that much. But you don't have to take my word for it. There's actually a demo that you can try out. And this is actually an updated version of the demo. If you were burned by the original demo that came out sometime before the game's release, this updated demo is much closer to the final game and reflects more of the experience that you will get, as that initial demo was more about fielding responses from fans in order to get an idea of how the final game should end up. But with that in mind, if you are a fan of titles like Tactics Ogre and Final Fantasy Tactics, Triangle Strategy is an easy demo to recommend.
The demo for Star Ocean: The Divine Force is really generous. This will allow you to experience traversal and the brand new combat systems, and give you a sense of what the developers are actually trying to accomplish. Much like how I described Scarlet Nexus as anime control, Star Ocean is anime Star Trek. Its real-time combat takes a little bit of getting used to because you can exhaust all your resources, but as you progress even through the demo, you can actually make that into a non-issue. And once you start learning the Dumas system, it becomes really, really satisfying. So if sci-fi and discovering old civilizations and mashing that up with futuristic technology sounds great, you should check this one out. Anno Mutationem has been described by a lot of people as inspired by Persona, and I can't really disagree with them. But what really sells me on this demo is the look of the game and how it combines 2D graphics with 3D. This is certainly one of those games that I wish I had time to play, and I'm really thankful that there was a demo out so I can get a taste of what this game is all about.
Hi there, this is David from the channel David Vink, and today I would like to talk about the demo for Bravely Default 2 over on the Nintendo Switch. I grew up with classic JRPGs of the NES and SNES era, and I feel like it's unfortunate that the types of games that I seem to love seem to also be a dying breed nowadays. Developers are choosing flash in the pan over style, depth, and substance. But the Bravely Default series bucks that trend. You're not going to be bogged down with tutorials, and you're not going to have your hand held either. This is an old school JRPG with a new coat of paint, featuring a full, gorgeous world map, beautiful towns, a charming story, and most importantly to me, an involved job system where you can change your character's classes at will as you fight in turn-based combat. Don't think that it's all old school though. A lot of great quality of life features are here, such as fast forwarding and experience bonus items that will make your grinding a breeze. So while you're grazing around, nibbling on demos here and there, be sure to take a bite out of Bravely Default 2.
Eye of the Somnium Files was created by the man responsible for the Zero Escape series, and this game actually has a demo. Yes, it's more visual novel and puzzle-solvy than most of the games on this list, but I do think that if you're into this sort of murder mystery, that you'll find a lot to enjoy here. In Eye of the Somnium Files, you go into people's psyche, into their dream world, so to speak, and using the unique language and methods of expression that each person has, you have to progress through these mind palaces that'll push you towards the truth. So if that sounds awesome, I highly recommend checking this one out. Harvestella is also one of my favorite games of 2022, and this is Square Enix's attempt to join in on the popularity of farming sims like Rune Factory or Harvest Moon. Except, of course, this leans more towards the action RPG side of things versus the farming aspect, which is a lot lighter when compared to all the aforementioned games. But I think that's a good thing because they actually doubled down on the storytelling and the character development. That being said, unlike Triangle Strategy or Bravely Default 2, sadly, this demo hasn't been updated to reflect the full version. So the things like time passing in the world map is actually a lot faster than the full game. But barring that, I think you'll still have a great time experimenting with what you can do with Harvestella, as well as enjoying its really fun job-based combat system.
Hello Backlog Battle friends, it's Miss Bubbles. The best JRPG demo that I can recommend is hands down Blue Reflection Second Light. This demo introduces you to the story of 4 girls who had lost their memories and the only thing they can remember is their names. However, one day a path appears which leads them to a mysterious location that might help retrieve their memories. It's easy to get into spoilers territory while talking about the story, but the demo does an excellent job at introducing you to one of the gameplay mechanics, which is combat. This takes place in what the devs like to call exhilarating real-time battles, and eventually you can get your girls to transform within those battles and use different superpowers against enemies, which are super cool to see. The demo doesn't get too in-depth though with the other side of the game, like receiving side quests from the girls, going on dates with them, building facilities and whatnot, but it really does a good job giving you a taste of what the game is like. So if you've liked what you've seen so far, definitely check out the demo of Blue Reflection Second Light. You really have nothing to lose here.
I'm literally recording this after I'd completely finished the entire video, but I would feel ashamed for not even mentioning the fact that both Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana and Ys 9 Monstrum Nox have playable demos. There's so many people who have never played the games in the Ys series, which are fantastic action RPGs in their own right. The Ys series is developed by the folks responsible for the Trail series, and it always stars Adol Kristin, who has a knack for sinking ships. I don't know what that's all about, I think that's just his luck. Both Ys 8 and Ys 9 are fantastic action RPGs, and if you're craving for an action RPG to play right now, I highly recommend checking out both demos, because they couldn't be any more different from a thematic standpoint. So this next part's dedicated to the demos, whose saves you'll be able to carry over to the full game. I posted my demo impressions of GrimGrimoire OnceMore recently, but in case you didn't know, GrimGrimoire OnceMore is Vanillaware's take on real-time strategy. Real-time strategy isn't exactly a genre that consoles are known for, but they managed to make it work somehow in this game. Essentially, this is a mix of the gameplay that inspired them from StarCraft, mixed with a Harry Potter-ish kind of theme. Unfortunately, the demo doesn't actually go through some of the newer features of OnceMore, but it does give you a really good taste of what to expect from its gameplay. As soon as I played the Trials of Mana demo, I immediately picked up the game, and boy howdy, I did not regret that. Trials of Mana was never released in the West when it first came out on the Super Nintendo, but this remake just ups the ante for any remake that comes after that, especially for a game that came out on the Super Nintendo. Featuring vibrant graphics, a great soundtrack, and just hitting every note that the Super Nintendo game had, while providing a brand new action-adventure experience, this is one of those games that I still go back to from time to time and play a few minutes of, because it really is that dang good. Valkyrie Profile it is not, but Valkyrie Elysium is a fun action RPG inspired by character action games. The combat's very easy to pick up and play, and you actually get a sense of what they were trying to accomplish here by making sure that you're focused more on the action while using the AI to complement the action that's going on screen. As I hinted at, this certainly isn't Valkyrie Profile because technically you don't have party members, so using the Inheriars as distractions or ways to inflict elemental damage is still an interesting idea. And as long as you know that this is not trying to be Valkyrie Profile, I think you're going to have a blast with the action gameplay.
Hey everybody, it's Super Derek. I wanted to talk to you today about Octopath Traveler 2's demo, which is absolutely incredible. I had some reservations about whether or not I would actually want to play Octopath Traveler 2, because it had been so long since I played through the original Octopath Traveler and fell in love with it. But playing through the demo of Octopath Traveler 2 brought back all those feelings of excitement and the grandeur of Octopath Traveler 2. Man, it is phenomenal. You can play through any of the 8 main characters, but Oswald's character allows you to play through 2 of his chapters, which were so engrossing, so gripping. I knew as soon as I played that, I would be coming back to play the full thing. But what's especially got me excited about the demo of Octopath Traveler 2 is how it got me more excited for Octopath Traveler 2 than I think I ever was for Octopath Traveler 1, because I can now see some of the additional character interactions that kind of occur, and how each of the characters has a bit more of that je ne sais quoi that really got them stuck in my mind as characters that I care about and want to see more of.
Piece Odyssey is my favorite One Piece game of all time. And for folks who are hating on the fact that it's turn-based, well, you're missing out. Because it's turn-based, they're able to deliver things like team attacks that are super powerful and super devastating, and also the opportunities to revisit some heartbreaking moments, like in Marineford, or the fact that the group almost disbanded in Water 7, and revisiting those moments are super interesting, and given different context because, of course, the full party is right there. And as you can imagine, it has an original story as well. But you really don't even need to know all of this because One Piece Odyssey is a great JRPG whether or not you're a fan of One Piece. Oh, and I should probably add, the developers who helped out Dragon Quest XI made this game, so go check out that demo. After so many years, Neo: The World Ends With You finally came out, and yes, it has a demo. I personally love what they did with the combat because it feels more intuitive, you can still do some sick damaging combos, and the pins, just collecting the pins and experimenting with those powers is just so much fun. It probably got overshadowed by a ton of games that came out that year, but I still look fondly at my experience of Neo: The World Ends With You, and I'm so happy to tell you that the demo is still available, in case you're curious how this game plays. Love the action, love the pins, I think you're gonna love it.
Hey folks, Tark's Gauntlet here for the obligatory rule-breaking submission. While Theatrhythm Final Bar Line is in part an RPG, the RPG elements are more so set decoration for what is one of the modern generation's best rhythm games, and one of our generation's greatest celebrations of the JRPG. Theatrhythm gracefully makes the jump to the Switch and PlayStation 4, updating the mechanics from the former 3DS titles to more closely match that of the arcade experience. The demo alone gives you 30 songs to whet your appetite with, which is more than you'll find in a lot of full-released rhythm games these days. But Square went above and beyond, sourcing their 30-plus year back catalog to bring a whopping 385 tracks to the full product, with even more in the pipeline. Bright, colorful, and beautifully addictive, Final Bar Line offers a demo that can reignite the love of rhythm games in people who have been too long away from the genre, or spark a new interest in the genre for those who never partook. No expense was spared when making the demo. If anything, they may have been a little too generous with the content, but that's all the more reason to check it out. It is a great time, and at the low cost of being free, it's pretty hard to argue against giving it a chance.
Still one of the highest ranked games on my ribbon rank, 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim has a Switch-only demo. This is of course another Vanillaware classic. 13 Sentinels revels on the fact that it wants to confuse you and confound you with all these revelations and stories that they'll continue to pile on top of each other until you give in. And I think giving in is one of the best parts about this game. But another great part about 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim is the fact that both the story and the gameplay are completely separated. In other words, you can play as much of the story as you want, or the battles as much as you want, until of course a certain point, but it'll take you hours until you get to those points. This is a game that hands over the pacing to the player, allowing you to truly cater your experience however you so wish. So if you haven't yet, I highly recommend checking out that Switch demo. Dragon Quest also had a ton of demos, but I think the most generous demo in this entire list is the one for Dragon Quest XI's, which is a whopping 10 hours long. I'm not joking. This is practically a huge chunk of the game. And I feel like I can just stop right there. It's a 10-hour demo. Check it out. But what's really cool about the Dragon Quest series is the storytelling is very wholesome. The enemies are always a joy to beat up, not because they're squishy, but because they're typically puns. Who doesn't like a good pun? The localization is also really fantastic, with great voice acting and a post-game that is really lengthy. No wonder they gave us a 10-hour long demo. Along the same lines, other Dragon Quest games also have demos, including Dragon Quest Builders 2, which has a jumbo version of the demo. And this game is really cool because it combines classic Zelda-style gameplay with mechanics from Minecraft, but streamlined so that it's not so overwhelming for people unfamiliar with Minecraft. Like, you could build whole towns in Dragon Quest Builders 2. It is so much fun. And of course, there's also the recently released Dragon Quest Treasures, which if you love collecting loot, you're gonna love what Dragon Quest Treasures will offer. Dragon Quest Treasures features 2 of the characters from Dragon Quest XI's and serves as a prequel of sorts to that game, but for these specific characters, of course, but not the entirety of XI's. Whew, we went through a lot of games, and quite honestly, I hope you download even just one of these games because this is a great list of games to play and try out. Now, there may be other demos that I've missed, so do me a favor and let us know in the comments if there are any other game demos that you'd recommend people try out. And of course, if you've played any of these demos, I want to read your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to talk about the full games, do so as well. I hope this list helped you find new games to play, or at least demos to try out. And of course, I want to give a special thank you to all of my friends who participated in this video, and you'll find links to all of their channels in the links below. I highly recommend checking out their latest videos. Thank you very much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.